roll? Okay. Hello and welcome everybody. Those that are here in person and made it out in the snow and the cold and some ice still hanging around, and those that are watching online with us. I always start the meeting by asking everyone to fully silence their cell phones. That means not even vibrate, just all the way. Just go ahead and check it, pull it out, make sure. And that includes myself because mine is not on silent. There we go. We ask for your patience and understanding as council deliberates on various agenda items. We do have open public comment at the meeting, and the sign-up sheet is right in the front. I do encourage you to sign up on that. You can speak about anything during open public comment. We do not have any specific public hearings today. We did hold a public hearing already on one of the unfinished business items, but no new public hearings today. I'd like to acknowledge the staff work in preparation of tonight's agenda. Their insights are invaluable to each topic of town business, and if you noticed, we got the agenda out earlier this week, and so we appreciate we got it out last week for this meeting, for the meeting this week, and we want to thank the staff's work on doing that for us. We appreciate our town managers. We operate under the council manager form of government. Natasha Tucker sits right over here. She handles daily operations and department administration, while the town council provides direction and authorizes policy in accordance with the laws of the Commonwealth of Virginia and our town charter. While each council member has the ultimate responsibility to contribute and vote distinctly, the town council does work as a body, duly elected to serve responsibly and ethically the citizens of Colonial Beach, and participation of each member contributes to effective leadership. Collaboration is key in productivity in local government. Let's engage in constructive discussion, remain open to different perspectives, and work together for effective resolutions. And finally, I remind us that the proceedings of the town council are formal and are thus recorded. And with that, we'll call the work session meeting for February 4th, 2026 to order. I got 6:02 p.m. Our roll call of members, all members are present. I don't have any amendments to the agenda today. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Next up is our consent agenda, which is the minutes from January 22nd on it. 21st. Yep, I had it right on one agenda and wrong on the other one. There we go. Okay, do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
No second? Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, next up is council member liaison and commission reports. And so I will start with Ms. Grandstaff. Can I start on your side? Oh, you want me to start on the other side? Okay, Mr. Wood.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. Parks and Recreation had a very successful volunteer recruiting event on Saturday. Hopefully, everybody got a chance to come by if you feel like volunteering in town. And if not, you can still reach out to Parks and Rec and make your thoughts known. There's going to be a composting workshop with CB Green Space Saturday, September 7th at 11 a.m. That's at the Buzz. Chocolate History and Tasting Program, February 7th at noon at the Community Center. Hatha Yoga Tuesdays from 10 to 11 at the Community Center. Functional Fitness Fridays at 10, the Community Center. Community Board Game Night every second Tuesday to 6 to 8 at the Community Center. Tuesday, February 10th is Board Games and Black History Jeopardy. Coffee walks every second Friday at 8 a.m. starting at the Buzz. The next second Friday coffee walk is February 13th. Regarding the Planning Commission, there were 3 short-term rental permits issued, 2 accessory structure permits, 2 tree removals, 1 demolition, 3 single-family dwellings. Average days for all reviews and permit issuance is 16. That's down from like 75 just a few months ago. So outstanding work to the Planning Commission on that. Walk-in customers, the Planning Commission has been open 4 days a week now, is that right? File 5. 75 walk-in customers this week. That's gone up exponentially as well. Planning Commission had the special meeting on January 29th. 2 public hearings were held. They voted to recommend approval of the zoning text amendment to allow communication facilities up to 100 feet in height in C1 with conditional use permit. That is a communication tower, not buildings. Conditional use permit for mixed-use development, at the corner of Hawthorne and Washington Avenue, proposing 4 residential units above and 2 retail units below, and those are going to be long-term rentals, not short-term rentals. Upcoming, the Planning Commission will hold a public hearing for the FY 26 through 31 CIP on Thursday, February 12th. That's all I have.
All right, Tom?
Good evening, everybody. You may remember from our last meeting, I'm now the liaison for the schools. Have had no direct interaction yet. There's a lot coming, though. We have a school board meeting right here 1 week from tonight, February 11th. Looking forward to that. There's a collaboration meeting between the staff, the mayor, myself, and the school board on the 20th of February. So I'll have more to say after that meeting. And then there's a budget review meeting that I'll be sitting in on, and that is in early March. So a lot coming for me in that space, not a whole lot to report yet, but if you're curious about what's going on with the schools, come to the school board meeting a week from tonight right here. Finance, still have the finance team as my pals on the staff. And they have sent out the delinquent notices for real estate and personal property taxes. And just so everybody understands how the mechanics of this work, when those notices go out, anything that had been delinquent before the billing that they're notifying the delinquency of, these really long-term delinquent folks, those accounts will be turned over to collections, right? So that was a resolution we voted on a few months ago to allow that to be true for personal property taxes now as well. Don't go delinquent. There's better ways to solve that problem. And same with the utility bills. Second notices are out on those, and the water cutoffs will start on the 17th of February. So normal sort of public service announcements. If you're struggling to pay your bills, go visit the finance office. Don't just go delinquent. It'll go a lot better for you, I promise. And that's it for me.
Mr. Williams?
Good evening, everybody. Just a few updates. Same as Tom, I'm fairly new to the public safety liaison role, so I haven't had a whole lot of interaction yet with any of the public safety members or fire, rescue, or the police department. But I did ask the town manager during our one-on-one meeting yesterday if she had any updates. One of the things I asked about recently, since it's been kind of in the town news, was the crossing guard issue. I asked, since it was posted online from people questioning if we were responsible for the crossing guards or if the school was, and the town manager clarified that it was the schools that were responsible for crossing guards. She did remind me that last year we had in our budget proposal a crossing guard that the council ultimately rejected. And so I asked, if we're not responsible for crossing guards, why was that proposed? And she clarified that even though we're not responsible, we saw the need, and so that was why it was brought to council. And then also, I think one of the questions I'd asked is if the police department was responsible for actually training the crossing guards, because there's something posted online about that, and I believe that's not something that the police department does. Let's see. Last week's investigation, the police chief brought up last week that they were supposed to meet that Friday with the state about the investigation of the traffic stop incident, and that ended up being postponed because of the weather, so that'll actually happen on February 13th. There are currently 2 vacancies at the police department. And I also asked in my one-on-one meeting with the town manager if there was any public safety kind of activities going on that she was aware of, and she wasn't aware of any specifically, but she did mention the neighborhood watch where the community can get involved, and she also mentioned some things that she had in the works as far as community, rebuilding community confidence. Apparently that incident at the traffic stop that's still under investigation has kind of diminished some of our, some of the community's confidence in the police department, so that's kind of something we're going to be working on in the near future. And then just one last thing, I've had a couple of constituents mention, please ask council members to speak in their mics when they're talking, because even though we have made some improvements in our sound equipment, if we don't get close enough to our microphones, they just can't hear us. So just a FYI on that. That's all I got. Thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Ms. Grandstaff?
Good evening, everyone. I am still liaison for the Economic Development Committee, so I just want to reiterate, as I did on the 21st, that EDC has 2 functions for the liaison, tourism and economic vitality. So we had a few changes. Kelly Woods Vaughn was elected to be the DCB VP, filling an important spot that has been vacant for quite a while. As such, she is no longer the co-chair for the Economic Vitality Committee. Cynthia Newmer of Coldwell Banker Elite has stepped into that role to co-chair with Benny Bowman. The Economic Vitality Committee is still working with the owner on Colonial Plaza Shopping Center in an effort to do a revitalization of the beautification process for that. They'll meet again on February 10th to continue discussing that feature. The Tourism Committee has been formed with the co-chairs being Karen Grisovic, and I'm sorry if I mispronounce your name, I'm sorry, Karen, and Patty Woodside. They are working on a prototype for tourism to promote tourism more, and it has included a prototype, they state, that will be called Discover Colonial Beach, featuring a red heart for the O in Discover. To tie, Virginia is for Lovers brand, one of the strongest tourism marketing logos in the world. The 2026 materials will feature a tagline where the waters welcome, featuring the red heart, and Wonderful, a shorter version with the O featuring the red heart as well. The tagline incorporates our most appealing assets, which will be the river and bay, includes an action word, welcome, that has a universal comfort and appeal, and the descriptive wonder to invoke a sense of adventure and excitement. The colors used in this graphic engender our soft, serene, organic, yet playful, natural surroundings, and the committee approved this visual direction. This will be discussed later as they come to council later in the year with this tourism idea to spearhead more of an upward trajectory for tourism in Colonial Beach. And that's it for me. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Sanford?
Good evening, everyone. I'm the new liaison for NGOs. I haven't had a chance to connect with them, so I don't really have anything to report on that. However, I do want to say, give kudos to Public Works and Chris and his team for plowing after this past storm. I know they did a great job, so that's all I have for tonight.
Thanks. Mr. Allison?
All right, before I get into the liaison stuff for the Public Works, I do want to tag on to the school thing. Just let everybody know the Lady Drifters basketball has a game tomorrow night. It's senior night. It's a whiteout. It's against Northumberland at 6 p.m. You can get your tickets on GoFan for $8. Seniors are free, over 65. Also, there is Rumble on the River, which is CB Cheer Invitational, which is Saturday, 11 a.m., and that's a $10 admission. So make sure you get out to see some of these seniors play. The girls are currently 14-1. They beat West Point 50-28 the other night. I think it was 28, but it was by a lot. It was pretty interesting to watch the JV girls get put in and score probably 6 to 8 points, right off the bat, and then pull it back out. And the rest of the girls got in there. I'm kind of biased. My niece is on the team, so so make it out there. Public Works. All right, so storm preparation. We know that we were expecting a lot. We got a little bit of a lot and a whole lot of ice. So part of that preparation began January 20th. So we replenished the sand supplies, staged additional equipment, confirmed all the snow and support equipment was operational, prepared operations for potential widespread power outages. Luckily, we didn't get any. Full snow response initiated on Saturday, the 24th. Two-shift operations began at 7 p.m. Approximately 143 total operational hours as of February 4th, with recovery efforts ongoing. They had 4 catastrophic failures. However, they did get 3 of those repaired. 24 minor equipment failures with plow trucks returned to service within 1 hour. Roadways, they applied 70 tons of sand and 6.5 tons of ice melt, cleared and pushed back snow at intersections, cleaned curbs and gutters, removed approximately 1,600 tons of snow and ice from the roadways. They also had clearing of town parking lots, boardwalk, and remaining snow as needed. Assisted the Cluny Beach school systems with clearing the school parking lot. And if anybody ever heard what that sounded like, I live across the street. So it's like that backhoe broke up that ice and it sounded like, I don't know, bombs going off. It was so loud. Even scared the dog and crawled underneath the bed. So continue on. Continuing recovery operations this week. They had 2 main breaks, both repaired within a 3-hour notification. 7 water services temporarily shut off due to freezing conditions. And 5 sewer backups responded to and cleared during this event. Again, as Ms. Sanford said, kudos to Public Works. Again, we were the only school system that opened up early. Everybody else is still, well, tomorrow they'll have a 2-hour delay. So kudos to all of them and congratulations.
All right, well, not to echo too much of what everybody else has said, but I do want to give a second shout out to the ladies varsity Drifters basketball team. I went to the game against Westmoreland, which is obviously our rival in the county there, and to watch those young ladies play is truly just fun. And it's worth going out to see. They work as a team. I feel like I'm watching UVA basketball again, and anyway, I just love cheering them on, and they are really impressive, and it's just really exciting. Before the storm, that was when they played Westmoreland before they played West Point. And then also we had a ribbon cutting at Peddler's Market. It's an established business in town, but they have new management, and they have a lot of new ideas and new vendors and a lot of great things going on there. That was happening literally right before the storm was started, but the ribbon cutting was scheduled way before the forecast. And I would say there were 100 people there. I could not believe it. I was so excited for Peddler's Market, catered right with Guacamole, which is the restaurant that's right across there. So a lot of collaboration in businesses, and the Chamber of Commerce did a great job. And that also airs on WWER if you missed the grand opening. Since the weather came in the very next day, and they, obviously that wasn't ideal for their ribbon cutting, but that's what we all had to deal with. They knew they would close. So please, now that the roads are back clear and people are starting to move around again, go see them and don't let the momentum of that moment for them die down. I just want to encourage everybody to head out to Peddler's Market with their new management and check it out. Also attended the all-volunteer meetup, as Rick said, which was also very well attended, considering how much ice was still on the ground at that point. I didn't think anybody would get out around, but Public Works had cleared even the parking spaces, not just the road, but also the ability to park, which allowed that event to, I feel like, take place. I think if those spaces hadn't been cleared, I don't even know if that would have been possible. So it was a very good meetup, and a lot of new faces coming to check out how they can get involved and volunteer in their passion around town, which there's many of. I I want to give a little update. I've talked to Supervisor Trivet, and we stay in communication about the rescue squad issues. I will say that if you know a life member, a rescue squad life member from the volunteer squad, tell them to please get in touch with Lisa Dodd or Joey Strawn or some of the other lifetime members. We honor those members. Those members have served this town for a very long time, and they are working together to try to help resolve this issue. So some of those lifetime members maybe hadn't been involved in the squad for a while, but you had given many years to it. We just want to call you back to service a little bit and get with those people so that that you can help assist in moving things forward in a positive direction. And then lastly, just the unified effort really for the snow. I don't want to just give the Public Works kudos for this. I mean, what you've already gotten, but I really saw it more comprehensively. It was Public Works getting the roads clear, absolutely. But then it was the PD helping with the ice at the school and the crosswalk situation, which was still very dangerous and it's really appreciated. And then the fact that the school altered transportation routes, our bus drivers, still finding new ways to make sure our kids went to school this week, which did not happen in any other school jurisdiction around us. And me, for one, I want my kid in school. I mean, the virtual learning is, like we've done it. I'm over it. I want him butt and seat with a teacher in the room, and I just couldn't be prouder of all of the entities that had to come together. And that, I think, reflects largely on administration. So I just want to say thank you to the administration of the town, to Natasha and her team, because I think it takes that too, to make sure all those entities are working together, and the collaboration with Westmoreland, because Westmoreland EMS has to cover a much bigger area, and they were also putting comms out and coordinating with us as well in case we needed to have shelter services, and thank goodness that the power didn't go out and we didn't have to go that far with it, but people were getting ready for that. So that just took a big team of people, and trash service is back on this week. The convenience center in Westmoreland was total sheet of ice last week. There was no way a truck was getting in or out of that thing. So, and I don't think it was probably very safe for most of our residents, even myself, to get the can to the street even last week. Like, my driveway, I mean, I ate it, just cleaning my car off. It hurt. And I know I'm not the only one out there. So, but trash service is back on, so we love our trash guys, and I know they're probably going through heck this week because they're picking up 2 weeks of trash instead of one, and they're still fighting the ice. So make sure you put your can as close to the road without being in the road as you can, and just make it as accessible to dry pavement as possible for the remainder days this week or until this ice is melted. And that's all I have tonight. Next up, we've got some really important and really amazing proclamations. In February, I don't know if they're hosting a Black History Month event this year. Natasha, have you heard?
No one's reached out to me.
Nobody's
regarding
reached
that.
out yet.
But I'll
It-
find out, and if they do in fact have one, and report back.
Yeah, in the past years, there's been either Martin Luther King Jr. Day or Black History Month Day, and sometimes it gets pushed because of weather, like we just had. And so if that it's a really fantastic event that honors the tradition of American Black heritage and also our community and the talents and vibrancy of our community. So I hope they do put something on. But I'll go ahead and read the proclamation as it is. Whereas Black History Month is observed annually in February to recognize and honor the history, culture, and contributions of Black Americans to the growth, strength, and diversity of the United States, and whereas the origins of Black History Month trace back to 1926 when historian Carter G. Woodson established this History Week to ensure the study, recognition, and preservation of Black history in American education and public life, and whereas 2026 marks the 100th anniversary of the establishment of Black History Week, a milestone that honors a century of collective efforts to acknowledge and elevate the historical impact of Black Americans, and whereas Mr. Woodson laid the foundation for what would later become Black History Month, February. formally recognized nationwide 50 years ago in 1976 and remains a vital observance for education, reflection, and celebration. And whereas commemorating Black History Month in this centennial year provides an opportunity for renewed commitment to understanding the shared history, celebrating diversity, and promoting equality and inclusion within the community, now therefore be it proclaimed that the Town Council of the Town of Colonial Beach, Virginia does hereby proclaim February 2026 as Black History Month in the Town of Colonial Beach and encourages all residents to observe this historic centennial through learning, reflection, and community engagement. And I just want to add that this past year was when we were finally dedicated our school board building to our first Black mayor. And so that was really, he's since passed, but a marked occasion for this local community's history in that. All right, the next proclamation, and then you all are going to be really tired of me reading all this stuff here. 134-year anniversary of the Town of Colonial Beach. It's our birthday, guys. We going to sing happy birthday? I'm just kidding. All right, it's our birthday in the Town of Colonial Beach. We are older than Dahlgren Navy Base, and I like to throw that in their face as often as possible. We were here first. So whereas the Town of Colonial Beach, Virginia was incorporated in February 25th of 1892 and has for 134 years stood as a vibrant waterfront community along the Potomac River, and whereas Colonial Beach's rich history as the playground of the Potomac and its maritime heritage reflect the resilience, pride, and spirit of its residents, and whereas generations of residents, business owners, civic leaders, watermen, service members, and volunteers have contributed to the growth, the fortitude, and the character of Colonial Beach, fostering a strong sense of pride, drifter pride, and belonging. And whereas the celebration of this 134th anniversary provides an opportunity to honor the town's past, recognize the contributions of those who have shaped its present, and look forward with optimism to its future. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Town Council of the Town of Colonial Beach, Virginia does hereby proclaim February 25th as our birthday, our 134th anniversary of the town, and encourages residents, businesses, and visitors to join in celebrating the town's history, community spirit, and continued progress. That's so be it proclaimed. That's it on that one. All right, next up on our work session agenda is our open public comment. If you didn't get a chance to sign up but would like to, have you already got the comment sheet? Okay, I'll give you an open shot though if you didn't sign up and you still want to come up. And we will open public comment. I got 6:28 p.m.
We should have one sign up, and it's Mr. Barry Millward.
Okay, Mr. Willward, you know the process, the procedures.
I do.
Go
yes.
for it.
Barry Millwood, 405 Livingstone Street. Madam Mayor, council members, before I get into what I'm really here for, I want to echo the comments that I've heard from several of you here about the incredible job that our public works folks have done over this last week or so. Unbelievable, you know, it's this, what they call it, snowcrete. It's just the snow, but it seems like concrete. And they just did a great job. And Chris, please relay that to everybody out there, that it isn't just these guys up here that feel that way. We feel that way too. Main reason I wanted to be here is in my role as chairman of the electoral board for the county. Advise everybody, if you don't know already, there may be a special vote coming up on April 21st to override the last constitutional amendment and allow mid-decade redistricting. That has been passed by the Virginia House. It's been passed by the Virginia Senate. There is a hold on it at the moment from a judge. There's various issues. It's being appealed to the Supreme Court, so we can't even begin to plan because we don't know if the event is going to happen or not. But if it does, it'll be on April 21st. On April 21st, there's going to be a big construction project going on at the high school, which is our normal voting place. And traffic patterns there are such that we feel it would be hazardous both to students and to voters to conduct that election at the high school. So if we do have that election, we're planning on moving it, if everybody is agreeable to this, back here. This is where we used to have elections. And this was not ideal for having elections because, again, you get a lot of people, you've got streets to cross, there's limited parking, there's questions of ADA accessibility from certain directions. So for this little thing that's coming up, I don't know how many people will come if it does happen. We might get 1,000 people come vote here for a normal election. We don't think there'll be 100 for a constitutional amendment because most people won't know it's happening. And we'll have to jump through hoops to get it arranged. But if it does, we're going to need, Chris, we're going to need your help from your guys to just move their voting equipment back here that you helped us move 4 or 5 years ago. Police department will probably want to be able to put no parking signs out front of this building so that we can have curbside voting and handicap parking right outside. I've checked with Heather. The building is available as I understand it, and but again, we can't plan anything. We can't start programming machines for voting until we know what's happening. That's all I really had to say. If anybody has any questions, I'd be glad to try to address them. Thank you.
Thank you. There's nobody else signed up, but I'd like to open the floor. If anybody else would like to come up, it is open comment for anyone. All right, I'll keep moving forward then. All right, next up, unfinished business. The financing of the remainder items on the capital improvement plan, utility vehicles and equipment. Mr. Cole, you're up.
Thank you, appreciate it. Happy birthday to you all.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Just a brief recap. We had presented the results of the request for proposal that we did for some equipment, vehicles. There are two resolutions that could be, one or the other could be considered this evening if you decide that you do want to proceed with a borrowing. One is for a general obligation bond that would be through Truist. The alternative is a lease financing that would be through U.S. Bank. We had gone through the comparison. The U.S. Bank lease interest rate's a little lower. It's about $16,000 lower in total payments over the 10-year life. But as a lease, there are some additional housekeeping paperwork items staff has to do through the term of the loan. There's not quite as friendly prepayment language. So our recommendation in working through this with staff was to go through Truist with a general obligation pledge. So that is certainly an option for you all to consider. Again, there's a resolution that would memorialize that. Alternatively, the lease through U.S. Bank, or thirdly, nothing, which I think would presume that you would cash fund those projects. And that's something we obviously talked about last time. Happy to answer any questions. I realize that's pretty high level, but suspect that's all you needed as a refresher.
Okay, is there any discussion from council or questions for Mr. Cole? Yes, Ms. Williams.
Yeah, I can't remember. What's the overall cost for each of these?
Sure. The total payback over the 10-year term.
Is that page 5? I think of his.
Yes, page 5. Thank you.
The presentation he gave
There
last
we
time
go.
is attached.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The total payback of principal and interest on the Truist is $809,000 over the 10-year term. excuse me, that's US Bank, 809,000, and Truist, 825,000. Again, because they've got a slightly higher rate and an additional bank closing fee. Debt service, either way, if you were to move forward, the first payments would be in fiscal '27, which is the budget you all are embarking on.
And so that the local cost of issuance, so that's the 100,000, correct?
Correct, yes, that would be just the closing costs associated with the borrowing.
Oh, and then there's interest on top of that,
Correct.
correct?
So
Okay.
the total borrowing for US Bank, as an example, is $670,000, and then the principal and interest payback on that is the 809.
Okay.
We have any further discussion on what we want to do here, guys? To me, I think we got kind of three options. We got US Bank, Truist, or cash fund it. And I know we've heard from some of our council members on where they feel about this. I just want to go ahead and get everybody,
I'd like to make a motion.
sure.
I'd like to make a motion that we cash fund,
All right, is there?
option C.
I second.
Okay. All right, is there further discussion on that motion? No discussion on that motion after we've talked about this for months. Okay,
Well,
Go
so
ahead.
discussion on that motion would be if we were for it or against it, or, I'm not.
or if you have any questions about it?
I understand, I mean, it's pretty simple. We'll cash fund the purchases, right? So
Okay.
I don't have any questions about the motion. I think we ought to consider the debt financing, though. I'm happy to speak to that if this is the time to do that.
But we have a motion seconded on the floor.
Yeah, but this is the time to speak about cash funding it, or anything related to how it affect the motion that is on the floor to vote.
Yeah.
If you have an opinion, you like, I want
Yeah, I do.
you to feel like I'm
But-
silencing anybody.
Right. So we've been through a number of cycles with our friends from Davenport explaining what this is all about. We as a council met and looked at our CIP, and we decided, I don't think it was unanimous, to be fair, but we decided that we were going to sort of split the baby in two, so to speak, in that we would cash fund part of the CIP, we would debt finance part of the CIP. That was the path we went on. We sent Davenport back to then get the financing options for us. All of the data that they've brought back to us has said that we have plenty of sort of capacity to borrow by any metrics, right? So they compared us to other towns and cities and that are sort of AAA rated municipalities, and we have a lower debt burden than they have. So we're at like a quarter of the state, sort of the limit of the state law of how much of our budget can be in service to debt. So we're far below that line. I'm in favor of sort of doing this, part cash funding and part debt funding so that we maintain some more capital to give us some flexibility to have a larger rainy day fund for unexpected expenses. I think this is normal business operations for a municipality, and I think all the data that we've seen so far says that this is a responsible thing to do. I think it's actually the more responsible thing to do is to sort of have a limited amount of borrowing and sort of still stay below all of those thresholds of a well-managed municipality and the amount of borrowing that we would have in play. So that's my thoughts on it.
Lisa, did you have anything?
Just what I discussed in my one-on-one initially back in, was it November? When I had indicated I would like to see both sides, and I had said if we can get terms where, because of our cash, how we stand in a pretty good situation, I didn't want the issue of the prepayment to add on top of that, and I see that it's 10 years in prepayment. So, because like with vehicles, and they tend to depreciate, and I just feel at this time, for that part, we can cash fund that. So that's where I stand to cash fund.
Okay, hold on. I saw Rick, and I don't know if Kenny is also.
Yeah, I would agree. I had to ask town leadership, and I do this frequently, give me a compelling reason for this. And I didn't hear a compelling reason, quite honestly, for going into debt to pay it down. It's not as if this is a particularly sweet spot to borrow. You know, it's not like we found the pirate treasure in the attic. And so we will still have that option available to us. Yes, it's always nice to have a little more money in reserve than now, but I don't see a particular reason to go into debt here. So I'm not going to support the debt funding.
Okay. Do you still want to speak, Mr. Williams? Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with Rick. I do, I'm not 100% against.
Can you say that again?
I agree with Rick, yes.
Okay.
It happens every once in a while.
Just kind of shocking there for a minute. It was shocking.
I was gasping for air.
Yeah, you know, we're not, total enemies here. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just, an argument in favor of the motion I made, that 100,000, I don't know, was it maybe 120 or 50,000 or however much this would cost us? We could buy another plow truck and plow or tractor. And so there's one reason against, and just in my opinion. Another reason, I think, we may have to take some debt on in the future as a town, and I just feel like we need to keep that option open maybe for the future, not right now. I think we're in okay shape right now. One of the items on the agenda for purchase is the trash truck, and I feel like, part of the reason why we have the extra reserve is because of the trash tax, and so why not use that extra reserve to help buy that truck? So there's another reason to do the cash funding. And like I said, I'm not a debt person. I'm personally working as hard as I can to get out of debt, and I feel like at this point, let's stay out of debt, or keep from getting any more debt as a town, and see if we can figure out, a way going forward to fund the things with cash if we can. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, sure. Mr. Larson.
So one more thought on the cost, right? So we talked about this last time, just to remind everybody, if the money that we borrowed, the money that we didn't cash fund, we kept it in a sort of an interest-bearing account, the difference between the interest we would earn and the interest that we would pay on the loan is negligible. I think it's like a quarter point, if I remember right.
Approximately.
So if you netted it out, there isn't a ton of cost, right? Because that cash that you didn't cash fund with is now earning interest. It's almost the same amount of interest that you're paying on the loan. So, and for that quarter point difference, you get all of the flexibility that comes along with having that extra cash available for the next CIP project to fund the match on a grant or whatever. But anyway, I just want to be clear, the net cost of it is actually far less than $120,000 or whatever that is. Correct me if I'm misstating anything.
I think that's accurate in terms of the earning rate versus the borrowing rate.
So that's the point that I made the last time we were around. So it's not, what you're saying is not untrue. It's just that there's no compelling reason to get into debt just to get into debt. if we were getting a special discount on the loan, if there were a reason that we could do it, that would be fine. But it's not going to be after consultation with other town leadership. It's not going to put us in a precarious situation. If we need to borrow money at a later point, we'll be able to do it. But at this time, I'm going to go by the old adage, don't spend 20 minutes selling something, an hour buying it back. We have a seconded motion on the floor.
I know. I want to add to the conversation. First off, I want to thank all the council members for doing the due diligence and going through this process. I know we've been at it for months about understanding our total financial position, understanding what our options are, knowing we are in a good position to borrow, seeing what that looks like. I don't want Mr. Cole to feel as though we do not appreciate his work with us, which has been significant. And the bond, I'm not exactly sure what your, Sands Anderson is with them. And obviously, we pay them every time they come, guys. So I just want to make sure we all recognize that. But when I first talked about splitting it up into, and we were all kind of considering what our options were going forward, we wanted to investigate half and half because it seemed more comfortable in safe, right? That seemed like, okay, we're going to keep the safety in borrowing for half. And as we walk through it, I think we're getting closer to, we know we have some refund money that's coming back from some of these grants that we're going to issue. The things we've had to forward pay, and we should be getting rebated for them. I do think we will be, if we do not borrow now, because our CIP items are forecasted for the next 5 years, and they're pretty accurate and we have a pretty robust CIP. We know we're going to need these things. Do you think the town is going to have to be in a position to borrow? And I guess in my investigation, what I was looking at was, if we borrow a smaller amount now, will we be able to avoid borrowing bigger later? Because we have given ourselves enough time to grow some capital up, right? So is the smaller borrow today a savings to putting us in a position where we would have to borrow bigger later because we did not grow that? And that's what I was looking at. The town staff has said that they think we could cash fund it and still be okay, and they're looking for money out there and grants and seem pretty optimistic about that. So we're going to, in my opinion, I'm not in favor of, if they think they can do it, let's just see it get done. But also that this time and this process has had a great, immense value to it for all of us to have a better understanding of what that financing looks like, how it looks like for the town, what position we're in, what kind of offers there are today. And if we are in a position in the future, in the next couple years, which is a very real reality, to borrow, we will have been through this experience and have this knowledge base, and that alone is a lot of value as a council in creating policy and understanding our financial structure. So I just want to say that to you, Mr. Cole, because I know you have been working with us for many months now.
Been a good process that was wanting to make sure you all can, each of you, make an informed decision. And I think it's been a good process. I do think, to your point, you're in an enviable position because you were able to move about $1.5 million to that surplus fund. This is going to spend about $1 million of it. There's $500,000 left. Unless you can add more to that surplus fund next year and the following, and you're still funding at least $500,000 a year, there's a point at which cash funding won't work. But that is not an issue this year.
So we're all kind of understand that, though, I think, from this process, and I think we all have a pretty good grasp of that, and that's so we're a better educated council for it. I do want to say that following this vote, when we say to cash fund, there will then be a subsequent vote for the actual resolutions in which Lisa will be taking the money from one account and moving it to the general fund account. And we did that last month. And I think there was some confusion. We did already authorize that those projects would happen and be funded that way. So when we have a second vote on the cash fund where the actual money then moves, I just want to remind people that what we're doing now validates them to take that next action. You see what I'm saying? So, hopefully we'll follow through and not end up in a wayward way where we all of a sudden somehow we don't actually get the CIP projects done that are in this fiscal year slated to be done. And if we postpone them, that's going to cost us more money. So.
Madam Mayor?
So you're saying.
Oh, hold
if
on.
we-
I'm going to go with Mr. Allison because I
sorry,
saw him
sure.
first, and then we'll go with you.
Yep, so the only thing I do want to point out is, we do have these estimated debt services payments, right? We also have, going forward, the debt service that we currently have is going to go down, which would basically almost cover these payments over the next 10 years. So although it looks like we're spending $82,000 a year, it's probably like $20,000 a year until we get to like 2034, 2035, which would actually cover the full amount. So yes, we would be taking on debt service, but it would kind of equal out to what we have today. Just want to make sure that's aware.
Duly noted. Mr. Larson?
So I was just going to reiterate what I thought I heard you say, Mayor, which was that if we vote to cash fund tonight, we have to then vote to move the money. We can't do one and not the other, or we really ought not.
You can vote however you like,
I
whenever
get it.
you
I-
like.
But
I
that
am
was your
just
message, yeah.
say that it's a logistical thing at that point. We have
Right.
told staff a directive, so I just wanted to kind of make
And
sure.
to argue against my own position for a second, I think it's probably true that if we borrow next year, the interest rates will be lower than they are right now. That's crystal ball work. No one really knows. I'm sure Davenport will not weigh in on that. They shouldn't. He kept his head down.
Don't know.
But
Too many factors that would go into
that's,
that.
Okay, so Mr. Larson has said uncle.
Yeah, don't ruin it for us, Mr. Larson. We don't want to jinx it.
No, okay, but I'm just saying, or have we had fulsome and fruitful discussion?
I think we have. Is there any further discussion from, okay. All right, I'm going to call for the vote then, and I'm going to go, I'll go Grand Staff side this time. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Sanford? Allison?
Nay.
Okay. Wood?
Aye.
Larson?
Nay.
Williams?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Great, thank you. I will just reiterate, as you're going into budget, the point that Mr. Allison made, which is your debt service in fiscal '27 is stepping down from where it was in the current year '26, and I would really encourage you to capture that money and keep it in a capital plan. It's about $50,000 or so that will allow you to either cash fund more next year or be better positioned for debt in the future, rather than losing that reduction in the payment somewhere else in your budget.
And that was the policy that was up for discussion in December, got tabled, and we can be bringing that back up.
Right.
Right? You guys remember that? So that may be coming back
Okay.
around for
Thank you.
us.
Appreciate it.
All right, next up, we are authorizing an advertisement for the zoning text amendment for a comms facility, radio tower. Maybe we should change the word to radio tower, Angela.
It's defined in our code, is why we
Okay,
call
all
it
right.
that.
Okay, AKA radio tower, not to exceed 100 feet in height. You want to go ahead and read us into it, but today we are just setting the public hearing day, is that correct?
That's correct. We're just asking for authorization to do that public hearing. It's already been through Planning Commission. They initiated a zoning text amendment to amend this section of the code to list a communication facility not to exceed a height of 100 feet as permitted with the approval of a conditional use permit. So this is only to authorize for the text amendment. If a text amendment were to go through, then an applicant would come fill out a conditional use permit and go through that whole process. So there's several other public hearings that would be coming forward. At the January 29th meeting, the Planning Commission did recommend to the Town Council to approve a text amendment requiring a CUP for a communication facility. That would require, so I'm asking that you authorize that public hearing just for the text amendment. Afterwards, we would do a different public hearing for the CUP. A CUP would provide for conditions to be placed on a property to allow the town to determine where a tower, which is basically, we're talking about a cell tower here, would be appropriate and impose conditions for approval to assist in mitigating impacts of the proposed facility tower on the surrounding area. Such conditions would include height, co-location requirements, treatment, tower antenna design style, lighting and screening. It'd also give the Planning Commission and the council and the public an opportunity to view a balloon test to illustrate the height. So the code does define communication facility as structure, including towers, where the principal use is to provide point-to-point communication services. So that's why we're using that wording, because it's in the code already. The only place that the code currently would allow a communication facility is in the A1 district, and that would still involve a CUP. And the height regulations for A1 are 35 feet right now, so it would also require a special exception. Because we have no properties in the town zoned agricultural, the only way to do this tower would be, one, would be the property would need to be rezoned to A1 and then do a CUP, and then, like I said, a special exception for the height. The other is what we're proposing, a text amendment initiated by a Planning Commission to permit the use in the zoning district other than A1. And so that's all we're asking tonight, is to allow us to advertise for the public hearing, to consider that, and then we can have further discussion after that.
Okay, so what's the date? What date have we picked?
That would be the next,
The regular council meeting?
we have time to get the ad in.
Are we good with that?
The 18th, February 18th?
Okay, so can we have a motion to authorize the public hearing for the February 18th meeting?
So moved.
Or you want to second it? Oh, yeah, we'll discuss in just a second. Is there a second to that motion? To authorize?
Second.
Okay, all right. Go.
First question, what was the vote at the Planning Commission meeting?
There was one nay and the rest were all ayes.
Okay. And were they provided any details other than just saying add to the text amendment, or were they provided details on the proposed applicant, location, all that stuff? Or-
Yeah, so the location, they were provided. We didn't get into a whole lot of details because, again, this is a text amendment and needs to be looked at holistically, because one project, as you know, once you change the text, then it's not project-specific. So that I will say that there is an applicant who has come forward and asked that to put a tower on a lot about, it's one lot in, 2 lots in from McKinney off of New Monrovia. It's directly across the street from the county that is zoned agricultural, but the county allows a taller tower. So I think Commission, it's also part of the designated technology and tourism zone in the town.
It's what, just past just before the Atlantic Bank?
Behind there, yeah.
Yeah. So it'd be, basically, the first thing people would see as they're coming into our town is 100-foot tower, possibly. That's just I know we're not looking at that specific one, but
Right.
I definitely have some concerns. Also, this amendment would allow it anywhere in C1, so like, if the marinas are considered C1, we could have one there potentially with a CIP.
It's with the
conditional
conditional
use
use permit only, so it would be up to council or commission to determine, council ultimately to determine whether it's an appropriate use. Staff would certainly not recommend a tower. Well, first you need the space to do it, and there's a lot of logistics. But staff would not recommend something in the tourist district itself or the marina area.
And is this a normal, like, to have in town allow for 100-foot towers, or are we unique in any way?
No, there's plenty of towns that have towers. People
In
in
the middle of their
town, we've
town.
heard, would like to have enhanced cell service and internet service.
Okay.
So,
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Wood? I see your hand up.
Yeah, I do want to say that with the addition of actually 4 new commissioners now, we have an outstanding planning commission. We have folks who have done this in other municipalities. To say that they were given insufficient information simply isn't correct. I've heard people say, well, the cup isn't good enough protection. Absolutely it is. Okay? That's how we stop people from doing things that we don't want to do. So with the addition of the new council members, or I'm sorry, the new commissioners, and the number of questions they asked, how well-informed they were, and the fact the tower is going to be so useful, and we can make sure it doesn't go anywhere else in town. Plus, these people could put towers even higher right next to it. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer to go ahead and go with this.
And I would add that we can set a policy, and we, in a number of different forms that would force anybody who comes after this to co-locate on that tower. We've been told by the prospective applicant that they would have space to co-locate 2 additional antennas when they come. And most localities, smaller localities like this, do make that requirement, that if there is space on a tower, that they have to co-locate before you approve another tower.
Which could improve competition for communications. I do have one question. We have a communications tax. Is a business of this type, Lisa, do you know, something that would be contributing to those utility or comms taxes?
I can't say 100%, but I would, if it's a communications tower, they would have to pay that tax to the state, and then we would get our share from the state.
Okay.
So it would increase our communications tax.
Right. Okay, all right, I'm just asking a little bit. Yes, sorry, Lisa.
And, Ms. Lawrence, I see it says fiscal impact. There's no cost to the town. However, it would generate tax revenue. Is that what you're referring to? And do we have an idea of how much, or not at this time, like a ballpark? Okay, all right.
I can try to get that information before the public hearing.
Okay, thank you, I appreciate it.
Mr. Williams?
Also, as you're doing that research, can you bring forward any negatives as far as towers go? Like a constituent sent me something this morning saying something about radiation, noise, property devaluation, and advertising being allowed to put on those things. So any pros and cons, if you could bring that. And also possibly, I was talking to the town manager the other day, and she said possibly we could get whoever the proponent of this is. This to me is a little reminiscent of the food truck court. We wanted to allow food truck courts, and then next thing you know, we got one. So I'm assuming this is pretty much a done deal and at the end of the day. So if we could get them to speak on behalf, I mean, that would be nice as far as, I'm concerned.
I also want to just encourage, if you haven't seen, we have one of these towers in town now, and it's at Public Works, so you can go down to Public Works and check it out if you want to see what one looks like. I don't know exactly what this one's going to look like, and to be honest with you, it's the first time I've heard of it. So I haven't been tracking the planning commission as good as maybe I should. Apologize for that. But I just thought it was a regular zoning text amendment. I didn't understand there was an applicant that could be subsequently to that. But regardless, a zoning text amendment should be thought of comprehensively as a full zoning text amendment, regardless of whether there's an applicant or not. So anyway.
Madam Mayor?
I would add that the tower down at Public Works is taller than 100 feet, as is the water tower. So we're talking about something that would be.
That was my question, is why are we limiting ourselves to 100 feet?
That's what the applicant who asked us to consider this is limiting themselves to. And I figured you guys would want
We're making a text amendment to something not specifically for an applicant. Like, we should probably
Right.
figure out what, like, the average height is or requirement. Because if they go away and someone comes in and says, I want a 150 feet one, then can't do it. So we
Well-
probably need to do some due diligence to find out, in a suburban area or a town type, what that looks like. And not just limit ourselves to one particular applicant if if this is something we're going to change.
What's the county's height limitation across the street?
I believe it's 150.
150.
I'll bring that back as well.
All right, so is there more discussion on just picking the date for the public hearing right now? Sounds like this is going to end up being quite an interesting topic. Sure, Ms. Williams?
I just feel like it's a little bit rushed, so I'm not going to be able to support it tonight. I'm not fully against until I hear more from the community, but. just-
You're against holding the public hearing at the next meeting?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit too soon.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion on the table, so I'll go with that, and if we end up needing to pick a different date, we'll go from there. Any other discussion on that point? Okay, I'll start with this side, Mr. Wood,
Aye.
Larson,
Aye.
Williams.
Nay.
Okay, Grandstaff,
Aye.
Sanford,
Aye.
Ellison,
Aye.
and I'll go aye, and it sounds like you have some more homework, though, too. Oh, February's gonna be fun.
They're all fine.
All right, Lisa, you're up next, Lisa. Appointing the official custodian of bank accounts and the signature cards. You want to kind of piggyback both these together? I mean, they're related to one another, so.
The first one, we were contacted by both Atlantic Union Bank and Truist Bank, and they stated we didn't have an official custodian assigned to any of our bank accounts, and it is a requirement by FDIC for public government accounts to have a official custodian named. So this is what the first resolution is for council to appoint myself as the official custodian of our accounts. And then the second resolution is just, everybody knows Michelle Payne retired from the school board. So we're removing her from the main checking account, the only signatory that she was on, and adding Audra Lucas Payton in her place. So if anybody has any questions, I can answer those.
All right.
I got a question.
Okay, do you want to make a motion and then do discussion, or you just want to ask a general
I
question?
just had a general question.
Go for it.
When you say main account, are you talking the main account for the town or main account for the school?
The school doesn't have an account,
We're all-
a main account. It's our main checking account. It's a pooled cash account. All of our cash goes through there. All of our accounts payable, all the school's accounts payable, all of our payroll, the school's payroll, all go through that main checking account. It's a pooled cash account.
Yep, okay.
Sure.
For the official custodian, do we need to name like a backup person, or is it just like the one person on it?
No, you can actually name two, but if I sent the information and it was included in your packet, that if you do, then you have to assign accounts, and then your limits on your insurance can change. I don't know if y'all have read that. It's up to council. I had asked Atlantic Union when I spoke to their representative what normally do municipalities do, and they said usually it's their finance director or CFO who is the custodian, because they are the ones that do the day-to-day banking and everything.
Lisa, can you repeat the second person you said would be named under the authorization for signature card?
For the school board, they wanted to add Mrs. Audra Lucas Payton.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's get a motion.
So moved.
Can we do them both at once?
I agree with it.
Pal's looking at me, one at a time. All right,
not
we'll do
agreeing
them
with it.
separate. 10-26. All right, the official custodian. Let's do that one first. Okay, so I have a motion by
Second.
Mr. Wood, seconded. All right, further discussion on that one. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay. All right, next up is Resolution 11-26. That's the signature card for the main, so obviously to replace Michelle. Is there a motion for that?
So moved.
Is there a second? All right, is there any further discussion on that one? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? We don't have a closed meeting today.